I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Today we're reading from the book of Hebrews, chapter 4, and let's focus on verses 15 and 16. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses, but one who has been tested in every way as we are, yet without sin. Therefore, let us approach the throne of grace with boldness, so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us at the proper time. Hebrews chapter 4, verses 15 and 16. You know, there is an unwritten rule: men don't ask for directions. Maybe it's our primal hunter-warrior instinct. Maybe it's our stupidity. Who knows? But it's hard to get men to admit that they don't know where they're going. And somehow it threatens our manhood, or our on-time arrival at least. Women generally ask for help. And in contrast, women's lateness is more related to something else, getting dressed, more than getting lost. And arriving in style often trumps arriving on time. Now, at the risk of further overgeneralizing, because I'm sure I've now offended everybody, I have observed gender-specific trends when it comes to spiritual directions as well. You see, it's hard to get men motivated about a Bible study. Believe me, I know, because I launch Bible studies all over the place. We would rather compete, joke around, or build something, right, other than study the Bible. Women, on the other hand, they can put a Bible study together with just a few phone calls. And that said, while women may be more inclined to congregate, image-shattering honesty is often missing from that group. If you could ever get men together, they're usually pretty open and honest about challenging one another. Like I said, I know it's overgeneralization, but I'm sure that none of this applies to you. The bottom line is we all have weaknesses. Just because we don't share the same weaknesses doesn't mean that one gender is superior or inferior to the other. It just means we're different, and yet equal in terms of our need for grace and mercy, equal in the availability of grace and mercy through Jesus. You know, people tend to gravitate to communities of faith that support their moral strengths and then de-emphasize their weaknesses. And this isn't really a healthy approach to seeking a church family. Nobody wants to be judged all of the time, but part of a loving community is the honest assessment of our spiritual conditions, which leads to a plan of healing. The Bible calls that accountability. You know, as they say in recovery, the first step to recovery is admitting that you have a problem. And Satan uses the fear of being exposed as a sinner to keep many Christians in neutral when God is calling them to go forth boldly. Today's passage is an empowering challenge for us to take courage and to approach the throne of mercy and grace with boldness. Jesus is familiar with our weaknesses and has overcome them all. He is sympathetic, which means he relates to us on the level that he knows how it feels to be us. By virtue of his sinless victory over fleshly weakness, we can trust him to lead us out of our bondage and into the life which he has prepared for us. Would you trust him today? I'm Steve Wiggins, and this is the Groundworks Ministries podcast. Check us out at groundworksministries.com.